In Section 1, we spent time going over the various dates and milestones of activities that took place throughout March and April. In Section 2, it's about where we are today and what we can expect moving forward. In Section 1, we talked about the dates in where Baseball Ontario suspended in-person baseball activity. Last Thursday, the Board of Management extended that suspension until June 15th. We will meet again on June 11th, where we will revisit that decision. We have to remember that the provincial government announced last week under Stage 1 of its reopening was outdoor sports fields and individual sports like cycling and golf, but team sports such as baseball were still suspended. Our promise to you remains the same. We will continue to plan, prepare, and remain agile to have some form of baseball in 2020. We know and we recognize the level of agility at the local level from different towns and cities and municipalities, and when you can and can't get permits. So we know that level of agility will be different. But overall, we will work towards a return to sport and, as I said, try to save some form of baseball in 2020. Baseball Ontario is taking a staged approach when we return to in-person activity. We will focus first on return to train, and then we will focus on return to competition. To help us with those protocols and additional safety measures, I've put together a special task force. This task force will be chaired by Brent Peltola. Brent, I cannot express my appreciation enough for the role that you're taking on for this very special initiative. Joining Brent on this special task force will be both our commissioners, our Select Commissioner David Black and our Rep Commissioner Justin Snively. In addition, we will have our Director of Coach and Player Development, Dirk Drieberg, along with our Supervisor of Umpires, Ray Merkley, along with David Huckwith, representing the Executive Committee, and of course, Marianne Smith, our Office Resource. Now, a few weeks ago in the Inside Pitch, we kind of shared with you some of the elements or guidelines being considered, and you can see them on screen. But again, it is this special task force that will come back to the Board of Management, and we will be sharing what those protocols, requirements for return to train and return to competition. So stay tuned. I know we said we'd have this out on May 27th, but we may need a little bit more time, but know that we're working on it, and we will have all of these protocols in place. So let's talk now about insurance. We are in the process of finalizing our renewal for 2020, but we want to make sure you are aware that you have insurance and it will be in effect as it always has been. Of course, this is once Baseball Ontario resumes baseball operations, because as you know, we currently have in-person activity suspended till June 15th. And of course, this applies where municipalities are allowing their facilities to be used. So we also want to make it clear that we will not be issuing travel approvals for out-of-province or out-of-country travel until the provincial and federal government say it's safe to do so. We have also learned that there is no contagion insurance. We were not surprised by this information because as we contacted other sports, municipalities, other sports outside of Ontario, there is no contagion insurance coverage. What we have learned is about making sure that we have our return to train and return to competition protocols and additional safety measures in place. So we are executing, implementing, following up, training where necessary, and again, implementing those return to train and play protocols. We'll have a lot more information about this, including outside resource, so stay tuned in the days and weeks ahead as we will bring you more information as it relates to those protocols around return to train and return to competition. Administrative considerations. Central registration is still required for any association running a program in 2020. More information can be found on our website on the registration tab. Rowan's Law is also still a requirement in advance of participation. Again, this is outlined on our website, but should you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact the office. We also recognize deadlines are going to shift, and we've shared that with you before. So in regards to the deadline for insurance and central registration, don't worry about that. We will communicate that long in advance when we have a better idea of when return to competition, what that kind of looks like from a time frame perspective. So when we return to competition, we know that our rep council and our select council will have decisions to make in regards to how does things look with tournaments and provincials, and again, lots of decisions to be made once we know baseball competition resumes. One of the questions asked, and I just want to reiterate, if select council and rep are canceled for whatever reason, you could still run a local house league if your facilities are reopened. You would have Baseball Ontario insurance and you could operate house league. So again, councils will make their decisions as it relates to competition for select and rep, and locally you will make the decision around house league. The key is Baseball Ontario has to lift in-person baseball activity. Once that suspension is lifted, councils will make their decision around return to competition, and our locals will of course make their decision around what does competition at the house league level look like.